Hello traders, welcome to this live webinar. My name is Chris Forsick from Elite Currency, and as usual, our weekly webinar on automated trading a little bit later than usual. Thank you for your patience on that. It's because there is a small reconstruction taking place in our apartment, and there was a ton of noise at the scheduled 7:30 a.m. GMT time. So it was not a good moment for a live webinar, and there could still be some background sound actually even now, but hopefully it's minimal and doesn't bother the webinar all too much. But certainly a few hours ago it was impossible, so had to postpone that. But as usual, next week we should have the usual time, 7:30 a.m. GMT time. So today, what's going on with the EAs in general? It's a little bit difficult for me to show you the results and how things are developing because my FX book links where we have, where we track the performance of our accounts is not working, at least not for me on both my PCs, whereas other websites, there's no issue. To me, it seems like something is temporarily not working on my FX book, but I don't know. I wonder if you have the same. Does anyone have the same problem? So yeah, I cannot use live my FX book accounts, but maybe some of you already are, so we can take a look. I wanted to share actually something about my FX book, how to read the stats and etc. We can do that partly next week, I guess. In general, um, it's interesting to note how the gain versus absolute gain, for instance, I wanted to talk about that. The absolute gain looks at your profit versus your deposits. So the more you deposit, actually the that will go down because it looks at, unless your profit goes up, because it divides those two as far as the explanation. Um, and with gain, it's more of a time-weighted average, I think, if I remember correctly. But I cannot click on the info button here to confirm that. But we can discuss that again next week. I also wanted to recommend following our MyFX Book accounts. There are not many people who did that. We switched MyFX Book profiles. So some of you are maybe following our old account. We have a new MyFX Book account, and you can feel free to follow that so you can keep an eye on all the stats and such. So we have a new profile basically. I'll share with you the link here. Anyhow, it doesn't make much sense to look at that with my FX book not working at this moment. So we can repeat this bit unlucky topic for today, but we can try to do that again next week when it's hopefully working. Regarding our EAs in general, well, Ultimate EA from Mislav Nikolic and myself, going through a little bit of a drawdown at this moment. We had a pretty good start of end of September and pretty good start of September. End of September and start of October actually, and was off to a nice continuation. A couple of trades didn't hit their profit target, and after that we had a couple of losses. So in the meantime, I think we're in negative territory for October. We're at 2/3. Two-thirds of the month is behind us. We still have a third left, so there's still time for maybe some trades still. Let's see. In any case, we're going to have a special offer sent to you for the profit share members that makes it a little bit more interesting to stay a member throughout the current drawdown period. All right, so special emails coming up about that in the near future. So that's something we wanted to offer as Mislav and the ECS team wanted to offer as thank you for living through a drawdown like that and an incentive to stick around. Okay. So more info once again in the email. I don't want to spoil the surprise. So that's coming. What else is new? We're looking at the chart now because I thought that at least we're looking at something more relevant um, than just my Facebook link that doesn't work. So let me check if you have any questions at this moment for me. Feel free to use the chat box. Are there any questions? There is one more thing. By the way, that I wanted to explain about the Zusier. Some of you might be wondering, the Zusier actually has a negative number of pips, but profitable account growth. So I wanted to explain that phenomenon because, you know, usually speaking, you would expect positive pips with positive gain, and typically that does usually go hand in hand, but not always. And that is one of the reasons why we at Elite Currency don't really emphasize pips that much, because it's simple math in a way. Because let's say that there is one trade, let's use a text box here. One trade, you have minus 10 pips, right? Like this. So minus 10 pips, you lose 10 pips, but you only risked a percent, let's say. So you lose 10 pips and you lose a percent. Let's say you do that 5 times. So you lost 50 pips, you lost 5%. But how about, or maybe a better example, 50 pips to give a little bit more realistic. Okay, so you lose 5 trades with 50 pips and you lose 5%, right? 5 times 1. Now, what if then, after this trade number 6, you gain 100 pips, okay? But you risked 2% and you managed to gain 6% profit with that. So, ironically, in terms of risk percent, you're probably about break even at least, or you know, you're getting maybe even a small profit. I don't know the math by heart, but you obviously that 6% is covering a lot of that minus 5%. Let's say, to make it even more clear, let's say that's not 6%, but you made with that trade, one trade, you made 10%, right? So you're in positive territory. Okay. But the plus 100 pips doesn't, let's say, compensate the 5 times 50 pips loss. So you lost 150 pips, but you gained 5%, right? Let's put it in the table here. 5 times minus 50 versus 1 times 100 plus 100. So 5 times minus 50 is 250, minus 250, plus 1 times plus 100 is 100, so you lost 150 pips. But you managed to gain 5% in terms of percentage, in terms of your account, in terms of profitability. So that's why I don't see much value with pips. I personally like to look at account performance and how much is made in terms of percentages versus the account size. I think that's the one true matrix that has the most value. I don't see that much, I mean, sure, it's nothing wrong with looking at pips. It is always useful info, but it's not the whole story. It is not everything, and can sometimes give you maybe a false impression. That's all I want to say. Because as you can see in this example, you lost 150 pips, but you made 5%, right? Plus 5%, but minus 150 pips. Now, that's not always like that, but it can be. And Zusier is like that. Why? Because with the Zusier, there are a lot of smaller trades that close for losses, but there are bigger wins that don't account for many pips, but account for good size wins in terms of percentage. That's it, just like this example, basically. So, yeah, many systems that are profitable do have plus pips, but it's not always like that. And just because you have plus pips doesn't mean you're profitable. Um, it could have worked the other way around as well. Let me show you. So you could gain 50 pips, or you can gain, let's say, 10 pips, 10 times. You made 100 pips. And you made 2% from those 10 trades. But in one trade, you lose 120 pips. No, you lose, 50 pips. But you lose 5%. So you just made 50 pips. 10 times 10 is 100. Then you lost 50 pips. So you won 50 pips, right? But you just lost 3% on your account. You gained 2% with those 10 pips, but you lost 5% in the losses. Meaning small wins can get easily wiped out by one bigger loss, right? But still you would be ahead with those pips. So it works both ways. Yeah, you can lose with plus pips, you can win with negative pips. That's why pips in itself is not enough information. It's as simple as that. And you need context. You need more info, more stats, more data. Just fully giving you all the info you need to make a judgment. Okay. So that was an important thing I wanted to mention as well today. What else? Let me check my list. Yeah, one other thing I wanted to talk about, two more things actually. One thing was that with any EA, I think it's always good to have a kind of target in mind. When would you like to aim for return, regards return? So it's always good to have a plan ready. I did the same with Ultimate in March, in February, March, when it made a lot of good profit and it was a good move up. I also decided to take the profit at that point. So of course it's a little bit of a luxury talk. Now that it's in a drawdown, it's not meant to annoy people, but more meant like better be prepared beforehand. Although, obviously traders can be annoyed with the drawdown, and we understand that. And it seem premature to talk about taking profit, but you never know when a profit streak can start, right? No clue. It might not be now. Maybe it might be now. Maybe this is the next trade is the start of a, who knows, of a 20 trade winning streak. I don't know. We don't know, right? So it's always good to have a plan about that beforehand, and to say, okay, at this certain point I'm going to take profit. At this certain point I'm going to take that much capital, so that when you get to the moment, you're ready. You don't keep risking or over risking, but maybe you don't take profit too soon either, right? It all helps to be pre-planned and prepared for that. So that I think is an important aspect as well. Hi Chris, good to see you, by the way. So anyhow, that's what I want to talk about today. With regard to your dollar, as mentioned in the video yesterday and in my wave analysis today, we got the move up. Actually, last week Wednesday on your dollar, we broke the 20 MA, was looking for a pullback, as I said in the video, your dollar video last week Wednesday. Then we got the push up as expected. Then I said we were looking for a bull flag. and a bounce, and that's what's happened so far. Your dollar indeed looking bullish and continuing up nicely after this flag. So a quick market update. Of course, next week, no, 2 weeks from now, we're going to have U.S. elections, and that could have some impact. I don't expect a ton personally, but the market might slow down a little bit in its movements. Eventually, might make some kind of range. Eventually, doesn't look so now at the moment, moving up nicely, but it could be a factor at one point. Anything else? I am checking our Google Forms to see if there are any questions. Let me switch back. Yeah, there was one more thing from my side. Otherwise, let me know if you have any particular questions. Otherwise, I don't have much to add because that's all I had planned. Just in case you came late, my FX book is not working, so I cannot. I wanted to discuss more things about that, but I cannot at this moment. We'll do it next week. Yeah, euro dollar definitely throwing a nasty curveball with us. First we were long, but those didn't miss the targets. Then we were short, but unfortunately, for our automated trading, an ABC pattern is playing out. I wish I was wrong with my wave analysis, to be honest. Yeah, I wanted to ask you one thing. We have also Trustpilot now. It might be not a smart thing to ask for a review during a drawdown, but it's not. Our point is not to ask you for an excellent review. Our point is to ask you for a review, whatever grade you give. It's just that 8 reviews doesn't really give a lot of data to the people. So we're asking for your honest review if you want to take the time, just to get more numbers, a higher sample, basically, would be good. 8 is not that many. Yeah. So we would appreciate that on Trustpilot as well as on Forex Peace Army, but even more so on Trustpilot because there's only 8, and on Forex Peace Army there's a lot more. Thank you, Claudia. Sorry. Claudia is talking about the hedges on Ultima. When there were 3 longs, the long targets moved their, when price went against the longs, the targets of the longs were moved lower, but there was also a short opened on that account, to reduce the drawdown effect there. That worked out. That would work out okay, and kind of slowed it down a bit. Unfortunately, the losses after that. There were a few losses after that. And the problem, well, not the problem, but one of the factors, of course, is certainly the fact that trading with 5% risk, well, of course, it kind of amplifies anything that is done, so it can go quickly both ways. But kind of the disadvantage with 5%. That's why we also opened up 3% risk, by the way. So yeah, traders can have more choice now. We are having, with Ultima both 3% and 5% open, both rental and profit share. With Russia, also 3 and 5% profit share plus rental. And then, of course, there's ZUCA rental and profit share, and LOA purchasing. So there's more choice than ever. I guess I wish that the circumstances were a little bit different. Certainly was looking good a week or 2 ago, but yeah, those things, I guess, always in motion, and these ups and downs are part of the game. So it's understandably tough at times for traders, and we understand that, and we have the same. But yeah, it seems like it's part of the game. So far, this drawdown is within what we expect, but it's about 45%, I think, at the moment. But of course, it's getting closer to breaking that. Not yet. 55 is typically what we see as a max within the last years. But of course, it would be nice to move away from that 55% level. Hopefully soon. That would be nice to move away from it. Now I think we're about 45. So let's see. Time will tell. We'll have an update again next week. I wish everyone great trading. I have nothing else to add really. Oh, let me check those questions actually in the form. But I don't think there is a question. Great. There is a question about the London Open Advanced LOA Bitcoin. And when is it available to trade? It is actually, you can trade it now with a demo. It is available. You can ask our team for the latest version of LOA EA that allows you to trade Bitcoin XBT, if I remember correctly, versus USD. With regard to real live trading on a real live account with real live money, I think, well, we're testing it right now. We're going to test it for 1 month. Then we're going to compare the live trading to back testing. If that comparison passes the test, then we will start trading with live money ourselves. I mean, continue with trading live money ourselves. But at that point, it kind of passed the test. So it's okay to try it. Still, of course, it's new. With only at that point, it would be new. Beginning of November, we would have already tested it for 1 month. And because it's so new, it's of course always good to, if traded with live money, to trade it with a very small amount and risk, because it's still very new. But if it passes the test beginning of November, then in our view, it's okay to try it with some small real money. Well, that's what we're going to do at least, or continue to do that. But yeah, still, so about 1.5 weeks left before we can finalize that process. So it's close. It is close, and certainly the LOA. Let's just call it LOA Bitcoin. Looking pretty good. It uses an 8-to-1 leverage. Carlos Codera and has been working on that intensively with Nenet, our Nenet, of course. And yeah, it's interesting EA because I mean the gain is it uses a small leverage, 8-to-1, on purpose, not to over leverage, because with cryptocurrencies it's not good, tricky to do that, to use more leverage. So maximum 8-to-1 leverage. And what I like about it is, I cannot show you the stats because my FX book is not working, but what I like about it is it's pretty stable, consistent. It's about 6.5% return on average, if I remember correctly. But the drawdown is quite low; it's 13%. So I like its performance indeed. Hope it will be really available. So that was a question in the form. Hi, Chris. I think that can you please check your email, because I was informed that that the link and price was sent to you by email. So if you could double check that, that'd be great. If you did not receive it, could you please write an email to us, because then I'm not sure what went wrong, but we are under the impression that you received it. That's why. Okay, great stuff. Chris, by the way, the winner of our Rush EA raffle, 6-month rental. Great stuff. So, okay, folks, thanks again for being here, spending your time. I always enjoy it to talk together like this. And we'll see you soon. All right, good trading. Cheers.